Hey everyone, welcome back to the Apollo Community Cast. I hope our viewers are having a productive and positive day. Without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. You said you don't want to go as far to say virtue signaling, but I think I would because, you know, I think we can judge it by actions. They talk a lot, but there's no real action in the community around them. They talk a lot, but there's no real action that they're making. And just giving someone some money on Cash App doesn't really count in my opinion. I think that they need to actually get on the streets, get their boots on the ground, and really get involved in these communities, or else it is just virtuous signaling. So
Oh
that's
yeah, for sure. I mean, to a
yeah,
degree, without a doubt. Like, without a doubt, I want like it's really been a thing because I've seen, some of those same people that I would have perceived as virtue signalers uh, beforehand actually come out to my events, to the Bridge the Gap events, and then, find that they actually really do enjoy doing more, want to continue to do more, and so. Uh, that is one thing I've definitely noticed that it's really a matter of cultivating experiences that are not only meaningful but memorable and really allow for people to continue to want to go to these so either socially aware, uh, thought provoking and engaging like community engaging uh, nights and events because you it's not extremely hard to go from virtual signaling to actually doing more in your community. It
I
is
agree.
just a matter of getting out, getting your actual boots on the ground and doing more. And so we try to formulate the events to allow people to start that action of doing more.
Oh,
Uh,
without a doubt, yeah,
and typically, as we continue to grow, those repeat people, at that point, we see that this is much more than just virtue signaling. This is actual dedication to your community and dedication to uh, seeing what comes out of our community at the end of the day.
yeah, without a doubt, man. I think there's three ways we can really judge it, right? You have the intent, and the intent can be seen through communication on social media. Maybe some people that may get called virtue signalers, they have good intentions, and then we cross over from intention to actual trying action, and to make that action to try and make a result. And then at the end of the day, we have impact, the final impact or the outcome that most people would say. And I think that we struggle too much on either side. We struggle on the intent and then we struggle on the outcome. But as long as we get people in the middle who have intent and are at least trying, then the outcome will at least take care of itself.
I agree with that 100%. So we have so many private conversations, you and I, and something that I've never shied away from was that at the end of like the impact is first priority. Impact, that and to a degree it was integral to become a nonprofit and be incorporated that way. Uh, you know, there is a lot of there is a lot of ways to go about running something like this that malicious intent could come into play, and that's something like integrity means so much to me when we're talking about delivering real impact and attempting to really show put people on, show people a different way, uh, really be that inflection point in lives for the youth or for um, the open mic that night. You were there with me, filming the entire time, uh, and you actually went on and went on stage, went in front of the entire community and performed your own writing. And you performed your own, stories, not necessarily poetry, but just stories, and had a great a great applause from the guests, from the audience. And I know that night meant something to you, meant something to everyone that performed there. There was a lot of testimonies. In particular, uh, there was a man that played piano, and he was really, really awesome. And came up to me at the end of the night, and he says to me, uh, if you remember, he was talking about some sensitive subjects right before playing, talking about wanting to end his life at one point, which was definitely sad to hear. And he played with so much emotion and vigor, like you just felt for him. You felt that his love for music genuinely is was kept him alive. And at the end of the night, he tells me that to come and showcase his music to the community that he's lived in and that he does love. And what that brought to him that night was, he told me, he couldn't even put it in words, like what that meant. And it's moments like that, because he was impacted in a very meaningful way, I believe. And his wife and all the community, he got a standing ovation. Really, everyone in the crowd, really appreciated him showcase himself like that and be open about his true emotions. You know, a room full of people that he really, honestly, probably had not known, more than a few people before that, but over the span of that hour and a half, and honestly, we all grew closer to each other. We learned a bit about each other. That to me is what is so meaningful. I mean, to have you go on stage and I know at that time you had not done too much crazy public speaking. Months later, you went on to do the NBC, so you got more experience. But I say, like, definitely that was something big for me to see, that you went up there, performed it. Really, it looked as if there was no discomfort, there was no nervousness at all. But that was impact. Again, we go to impact, like, for me to see that was big. And for all the audience, they appreciated you going up there. you know uh, a lot of different avenues of impact honestly take place. And uh, that's what we do it for. And that's what I want to invite people to continue to come out for.
Man, I could not agree more. I actually had a conversation with him after, and I talked with him and I shared the info that I was a bass player, and he really liked that. It was a connection after we were able to talk a bunch and kind of just kind of share, and there's this kind of idea of the flinch, and the idea of the flinch is like before you jump in a cold shower, before you jump on stage to speak, before you walk in that interview room. There's that one moment where you either turn back or you make it and go it in. So it's kind of like you just got to commit. And I was incredibly nervous. I was incredibly nervous to jump on stage and give, number one, an extremely heartfelt speech to someone who in the past was actually suicidal. And that was kind of the entire inspiration for it, because at the end it's talking about taking it day by day, because that's all you can really do. And then after that, I gave a separate writing piece that was a lot more public. It was on a social media page, but that one was really about people facing their fears, and the regret and the tragedies of life are what makes sure you don't step in the same hole twice, and you get your bearings and you rise up like a phoenix and basically become reborn. And so I was talking about the Chinese symbol of the phoenix, the Fong Wong, and I was just talking a bunch of that, and it was absolutely incredible. I think the biggest thing about these events is, like you said, people walk in, they maybe not even, you know, I could not recognize more than 50% of the people in the room. I did recognize a bit of people from my community, but overall, because as you grow older, you definitely, you know more people. You recognize more faces. So I definitely recognized a lot of people, but it was still a room of strangers, more or less, because I hadn't really talked to them on a deeper level. And because of that, everyone in that room who performed, they walk in there most likely not knowing 70% of that room, but they walk in having a greater sense of community, having a greater sense of family within their community, and overall sense of connection. And I think that's really what we're doing here, especially with art and everything, because art is an expression of your individual personal experience, and that subjective is laid out for everyone to see in the visual medium, and it's incredibly powerful. And even just go back a little bit, we're talking integrity, we're talking honesty, most importantly, we're talking impact when people leave and when people walk away. And I think overall there, we're really just talking about reputation, what the impact that we're making, and what people think of the work. Because if people see the work that we're doing and forget all that, forget all the BS translations that people say of activism and stuff. If they judge us specifically for what we're doing over here, then they see that there's no smoke and mirrors. We're just being honest, and we want to have an impact, and we're going to continue to have an impact.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, there's, um, in this work, of course, to a degree, we are putting on events for the public, and we are open and up for public scrutiny at any time. Something beautiful is that through the grapevine, haven't heard much public scrutiny at all. I mean, honestly, because the work that we do, you can tell that there's honestly uh, a passion and honestly love put into every single environment that we inhabit. Is really, bridge the gap. Like the sentiments, we there's no reason for us to even talk about these, controversial, polarizing topics. We just want to, bring real, uh, we can provoke thought without giving negative, connotations to anything. And that's at Bridge the Gap. There is typically never any negative connotation or scrutiny being, discussed. It's truly about, good times. I want every event to be a really great time
I
for everyone involved.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. And I think it's because we don't treat people based on their identity. We accept them for who they are. And whenever someone walks in that room, if anyone gets harassed for who they are, that we ain't gonna stand for it. You know what I mean? And at the end of the
100%.
day, we cut through all the bullshit. People have imitations, and they have their certain perspectives of what they think this work is. And sure, maybe for some institutions and other institutions, they're not doing the exact same thing we are. But when you judge us specifically, we're not going to stand for any hostile environments for anyone. We are going to elevate people's work. We're going to give people a platform. We are going to continue to make an impact. And we cut straight through all that BS, and we just put the boots on the ground. And I think that that's what some people are really missing. They like to talk a lot, and they like to, just go back and forth so much. But how about we just keep putting the boots on the ground, and get more boots on the ground?
And that is precisely what's taking hold every day behind the scenes. I mean, we're putting you and I, rest of the team as well. I mean, even at Fuel the Future, it's honestly diligent work we put in. Like there's no time for child's play because this is what's being assembled, what's being put in preparation quite consistently and constantly. Like it's very serious to everyone involved, and that's what we honestly want to showcase. What we wanted to be implied with everything that we do. That this is just top of minds and deeply and thoughtfully crafted every time.
Wow, you made it to the end of today's episode. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to learn more about crypto, NFTs, blockchains, or anything related to art, come hop in the Discord and we'd love to have you. Apollo Art Exchange is a digital art collective seeking to empower and elevate artists across all cultures within the visual metaverse through the use of writing, community, and multi-platform posting. If you'd like to get involved as a community member, please consider checking out our Apollo community tokens to support our work directly, get a chance at your own personal showcases. With that being said, here's a reminder to take it day by day, and we'll see y'all next time.